Hello and welcome. I'm Sean Chuchuk. Welcome back. This is a really interesting topic because so many of us want to become more productive. We talk about productivity. We talk about those things that we know we should be doing. We talk about those things that we aspire to do or aspire to be or where we intend to go, whether it's in business, life, and even relationships. And the interesting part of it is the word productivity has become a buzzword. It isn't something that most people actually wrap their head, heart, and hands around as they talk about becoming more productive. They say, I need to become more productive in my life, or I really need to produce more in my business, or my company needs to become more productive, or our team level of productivity needs to increase. And yet most people talk so much about it but don't do anything about it. So today I want to share with you something. Productivity is one of those interesting words. We hear about it, we've heard about it for generations. We're told, whether it's through school or through somebody else, a mentor, or maybe it's even a superior, we need to become more productive. Productivity is one of those words that most people don't grasp or understand. And in order to become more productive, we need to actually start to break down the word. What does it mean? Well, if we really want to become more productive, we have to understand what those high leverage activities are. We call them HLAs. And in order to do that, we have to understand what moves you, your business, your entity, your team forward. Forward means in the direction of your goal or objective. So productivity is defined this way. Any action step or activity that moves you or your entity or your team in the direction of your goal or objective. In other words, you have to know where you're going before you can become more productive. You can't just say, hey, I want to do more things and become more productive. If you know where you're going, you are able, hopefully, to reverse engineer this and actually understand what are those things you need to be doing every year, every month, every week, every day, and for some of us, maybe even every hour. What are we going to do that moves us forward? What do we do as far as a team goes? We need to break it down so the team understands what they need to do in order to be able to achieve at a higher level. In order to accomplish more, do you realize that the average person today in North America, and this applies for the most part to the Western world as well, the average person today is only productive, highly productive, 4 hours out of 24. Never mind the 8 or 9 that they're working. I want you to take a moment, just think about this, visualize this. What would it look like if you were productive for just 1 more hour a day, highly productive? If your team, every member of your team, if you have one, is productive for just 1 more hour. So maybe instead of 3 or 4 during their 8 or 9 hours working, maybe it was an additional hour. So it was 5. What would that do for your company, for your team, for the outcomes? What would that do for the bottom line at the end of your fiscal year? What would it look like if you could increase productivity just a little bit? I want you to think about this. I want you to dwell on it. I want you to wrap your head, heart, and hands around this. And I want you to figure out, gain clarity around what the destination is for you, for your team perhaps, for anything, even relationships, personal and business in your life. And then break it down into bite-sized pieces. You see, friends, and we'll talk more about this in a later video entry. You can eat an entire apple, but you likely can't eat the whole apple in one bite. So we're going to break it down, cut it up into bite-sized pieces. And when you do that for yourself and for your team, it's very easy to execute on those on a daily, weekly, monthly, etc. basis. And that's what it comes down to. So really get clear on what it is you need to achieve and base that on getting clarity on where you're going. And let's be very clear, there are things you shouldn't be doing. So if you're doing anything that isn't moving in the direction of your goal or objective, listen, it may need to get done, and somebody in your team may need to be doing it, but not necessarily you. And if you don't have that somebody, maybe you need to look at doing that. So you need to get really clear on what those high leverage activities are. And if you're doing something that's non-productive for you, stop doing it. I'm Sean Chuchuk. I'll see you soon. I'm Sean Chuchuk. If you like my video, please like, share, and subscribe.